What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is July 22nd, 2021. I am JD from New York, and this is Off the Script. Welcome to the OTS venue. I got a lot of follow-up news on what has been already a busy wrestling week. I got news on CM Punk. We all know, after you guys hopefully watched the coverage last night on the AEW Dynamite post show with Jesse and I, we talked about Daniel Bryan, we talked about CM Punk, we talked about Daniel Bryan being signed by All Elite Wrestling. But what happens to CM Punk now? Is he going to be in Chicago? I have all the latest information on CM Punk. Also, Karrion Kross. I got a major update on Karrion Kross. What is being said internally about Mr. Kross, and what happened during the NXT tapings last night where WWE actually had to reshoot his entrance. I got this plus so much more, so make sure you guys sit tight, grab a cold beverage, and let's get into it. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram, and hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications, and if you guys missed any of the great content that's been on the channel as of late, Money in the Bank, Monday Night Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite, everything you need is on the homepage right now. The Velveteen Dream. Yes, there is news on the Velveteen Dream, believe it or not. Patrick Clark. It will not be called Velveteen Dream on the Indies if he does resurface. He was actually scheduled to be at a wrestling show performing, and then he was later pulled. Former WWE superstar Patrick Clark, aka the Velveteen Dream, was slated to make his first non-WWE appearance since he was released from the company. Clark had been advertised to appear at Superstars of Wrestling Federation's Home Sweet Home on September 11th. The announcement read like this, and I quote, "SWF Wrestling and the Trifecta are happy to announce Velveteen Dream will be making his first wrestling appearance since his WWE departure live on September 11th at SWF Wrestling's Home Sweet Home event at the Toms River YMCA. Now, I've been to the YMCA in Toms River. I actually met Grim and my boy Jay over there for an NXT show, which was very fun. It's a great venue. However, Rob Fury, the owner of the promotion, issued a statement noting that due to complaints from fans, Dream had been pulled from the show. He says, and I quote, "Tonight we announced Velveteen Dream would be appearing at our Home Sweet Home event. I believe any man can be slandered and have been through other situations in my life unrelated to be true. After careful consideration, Dream has been removed." End quote. Now, obviously, allegations were made against Patrick Clark. WWE seemingly did an investigation, and they found him to be innocent of all of these charges. Yet, the lingering effects that it will have on his career will be with him for the rest of his life, based on what he's being accused of. WWE fired Patrick Clark because of backstage behavior issues. It had nothing to do with what was going on. It was just a little caveat to what was going on. But the report internally said that Patrick Clark was a diva backstage, and he had backstage issues with a lot of the talent in NXT. Now, I feel bad for him, but I don't think he's ever going to have a pro wrestling career ever again. Every single time this man's name is associated with any wrestling promotion, big or small, this is the outcome that's going to be. And that's just the reality of the situation. He's not going to be able to wrestle anywhere ever again and have a normal career. Nobody will ever accept him. I hope he has a plan B in place, because clearly his plan A in pro wrestling isn't working out anymore. I feel sorry for the guy. Maybe he gets back on his feet somewhere. Maybe all of this goes away, but I don't think so. This is going to be a recurring theme for Patrick Clark wherever he goes. Summerslam. I can't wait for Summerslam. Reigns, Cena, Universal Championship the promos, the chase for 17. It's going to be awesome. Now, clearly, SummerSlam is a sold-out show in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium. And SummerSlam is set to air not only on the WWE Network, but WWE is bringing SummerSlam to movie theaters. They issued the following statement as of today, and I quote, WWE and Iconic Events releasing today announced a new partnership that brings SummerSlam, WWE's biggest events of 2021, to movie theaters nationwide for the first time. The event will air live on Saturday, August 21st at 8 p.m. and will be one of the first sporting events held at full capacity at Allegiant Stadium. The first time it will be held at an NFL venue. Iconic Events Releasing is proud to be in partnership with WWE to bring their incredible brand to movie theaters coast to coast, said Iconic CEO Steve Bunnell. SummerSlam is a marquee event that demands to be seen on the big screen with big sound in an auditorium full of excited fans, end quote. This is a great idea by WWE, partnering up with somebody that's going to be able to get this type of show in front of the masses that aren't able to go to Las Vegas or don't want to go to Las Vegas to be around all the festivities happening for the biggest show of the year. What this does is it gives people a sense that they're actually there. And what this does is it gets people like you and I in a big arena or a big setting, not an arena per se, but you feel like you're in an arena, but you're around like-minded wrestling fans who are there for the same thing, and that is the love of professional wrestling. That is a win-win situation. Good on WWE for doing that. AEW's been doing that, and it must be working out well for them, and I assure you that it's going to work out well for WWE. This is a great idea, so kudos to WWE. So check your local movie theaters, man. If you're not able to go to Las Vegas, or if you want to be around like-minded wrestling fans, one movie theater near you may be showing SummerSlam on August 21st. Kiera Hogan, some Impact news, being that I was watching Impact this past weekend with Kenny Omega and Sami Callihan at Slammiversary. Great match, by the way. I urge you guys to go and watch that. Kiera Hogan, somebody that's been a mainstay in their women's division, no longer with Impact Wrestling. She went on to form Fire and Flavor with Tasha Steelz last year. They had a solid run as a tag team. Tag team championships came as well as a result of the pairing. She certainly had a solid fan base who were impressed with her in-ring work and character work. She also had a couple snide remarks towards Sasha Banks, thinking that Sasha Banks was stealing her blue hair gimmick, but I don't think that's the case at all. However, it seems she is officially done with Impact Wrestling. Kiera Hogan recently announced on her OnlyFans account that she will be leaving the company for good as she wants to explore other options. She says this, and I quote, "What's up, babies? I'm in Nashville for tapings, and you guys will be the first to know that this is my last Impact taping, and I'm going to see what else is out there for me. I'm so excited and scared, but I know whatever I choose to do, I'm going to be the best, and you can count on that, period." So I don't know who is going to pick her up. I don't know where she's going to go. I could see her going to NXT. She could be a valuable commodity there as WWE continues to pluck women from the roster there on NXT. Triple H is always in the mindset to replenish when Vince McMahon wants to do what he wants to do. I could see her going to MLW. I believe, doesn't MLW have a women's division? I'm not sure. But Ring of Honor, absolutely. I could see her going to Ring of Honor. I think she actually may fare very well in Ring of Honor. Baby steps. I don't know where she is. I'm not very familiar with her in-ring work. I've heard good things, but I haven't really had enough time to sit down and really gauge on if she's good for this place or good for that place or just good in general. But I've heard a lot of positive things about her, and she's got a great look. So I could see her going to Ring of Honor, competing over there. And like I said, NXT is always an option because you know that WWE's bread and butter in NXT is the fact that they are proud. They are the leaders in the women's revolution that's happening in WWE, or I should say lack thereof. But NXT's women's division is the best in the United States. So that could be a potential landing place for Kiera Hogan. Follow-up on WWE and what they did to Karrion Kross on Monday Night Raw. Now, Andrew Zarian was on his podcast today, Matt Ment podcast, and he spoke with a WWE source about what happened to Kross on Monday night. As you guys know, Kross debuted on Raw. Very fast loss to Jeff Hardy, 2 minutes to be exact. This decision outraged everybody when it pertains to talent, when it pertains to the booking of Raw, when it pertains to what it made NXT look like at the end of the night. WWE has more planned for Kross on the main roster, and this is the first step in what is described as a very long journey. The internet spoke out after Kross's loss on Raw. They even had to reshoot Kross's entrance at the NXT tapings on Wednesday night, which I'll get to in a second, because fans were audibly chanting Hardy at Karrion Kross, and it was so bad that WWE lied to the audience to have them stay, hyping that something special was coming, and then they reshot the entrance. So they lied to fans to fix what they have absolutely no control of. It's expected that Kross will continue on his path as WWE has plans for him on the main roster, and that is on NXT, losing to Joe, and then whatever else they got planned for him on the main roster. Now, Andrew Zarian revealed something that he was told from WWE sources, his WWE sources. They wanted to know why fans were so upset by this news. It was also stated that Kross's loss to Hardy is just the first step towards something bigger down the line. Now Andrew Zarian says this, and I quote, "You know what the justification is? He cheated. So it's a cheap win, but he's a former world champion. So, like it just shows you the lack of consistency with WWE champions. Jeff Hardy is a mega star. He changed the industry for smaller guys. He created a new time of wrestler." I asked about it, and my source said, "I don't know why everyone is freaking out about this. It was just one step in the direction we have for Karrion Kross, and this is leading into something." End quote. There are people in WWE that I really am, I'm really bothered by. That is an awful way to look at everything. And I may be overreacting to some, but you guys don't know how I feel internally about talent being ruined. You guys don't know how I feel internally about what NXT really means to the company, and nobody has a grasp on what NXT should be for the WWE, but it's not. There's a reason why there's no interest in NXT. Look at what they did to Kross. Look at what they did to Keith Lee. Why would anybody, and those are just two examples out of hundreds. Why would anybody invest in NXT if this is the result? Why would anybody invest their time in NXT when Vince McMahon came out on record, and sources are now saying, John Alba talked about this yesterday. If you want to go look at his Twitter feed, John Alba reported that WWE internally looks at NXT as a developmental brand, though Triple H has been claiming for years that it's a legit third brand. Why did you move it to Wednesday night? Why did you move it to the USA Network? I don't understand it. Why did you take it off the network and move it to 2 hours when it was fine the way it was at 1 hour? You ain't making any money on it. No one is watching it. Talent left and right is getting destroyed. What is the point? Why does it exist if the main roster management team is looking at it the way that it does? So he says, this source, I don't know why everyone is freaking out about this. He is the NXT champion. Undefeated NXT champion for 2 years. Minus 4 months that he was out for an injury. 2 years undefeated. NXT champion. I don't grasp how fucking dumb you people are in WWE. I don't grasp how dumb the fucking fans are. How could you sit there and justify this? How would you like if Roman Reigns went out on SmackDown and lost to 2 minutes, or in 2 minutes to somebody on SmackDown in a non-title match? Would you be okay with it? How would you AEW fans feel if Kenny Omega went out there as AEW champion and lost in 2 minutes in a non-title match? It doesn't make sense. And never mind what they did to fucking take everything away from this guy. I mean, they took his entrance away. His theme music has no more impact without the full entrance and the smoke and the lighting and Scarlet. They took his entrance away. They took his woman away. How would you feel back watching WWE in the 90s if The Undertaker came out with Paul Bearer and then all of a sudden WWE felt, oh yeah, he's getting too over. We're going to take the mystique away from him. We're going to take Paul Bearer away from him. How would you feel if WWE stripped down The Undertaker and took everything away from him? Would The Undertaker be as big as he was if WWE stripped everything down from him because he was getting too over with the audience? Would he be as over without Paul Bearer? No. No, he won't. I got people telling me, oh, Kross is going to be fine. I don't mind the loss. You're a fucking idiot. You have the IQ of a fucking eggplant at that point. He's the NXT champion. Undefeated. What's the problem? He's the NXT champion. Plus, you ruined everybody on the brand that helped aid in getting this guy over. A list of who's who. Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly. Everybody that tried to get this guy over and helped aid this guy's journey. Triple H did not punish him. Triple H did not punish him. I'm telling you that right now. Triple H did not punish him. You want to know why? Because WWE had to reshoot this guy's entrance at the recent NXT tapings. Bodyslam.net. These are the same folks that reported Daniel Bryan signing with AEW. Reports that fans in attendance at the Capitol Wrestling Center on Wednesday night chanted "Hardy" loudly at Karrion Kross's ring entrance during the show. In fact, chants were such an issue that they made the call to scrap that entrance and reshoot it all over again. This was a segment with Kross and Samoa Joe. The chants were such a problem that they had fans stay around after the show to reshoot the whole scene. It was reported from someone in the building that the fans were lied to as well in the process. Lied to. They even lied to us, says a fan in attendance, and said something special was going to happen so we wouldn't leave. One source said, a crew member told me the show wasn't over. When we tried to leave, he told us there was a surprise coming soon. What? So WWE, let me get this straight. NXT, if you are to believe the reports that are going around, and Karrion Kross was punished and sent off to main event and sent off to Raw to be punished by Triple H and NXT for the backstage altercation with Adam Cole that I do believe happened. The fact that Kross and Cole went off the script to take digs at each other, which was apparent on NXT television before the Fatal 5-Way at TakeOver in Your House a couple of weeks ago. This was all seen on television. You saw it, you felt it. It was real. They went off script. But I don't think Triple H would have punished him in a way to have him beat in 2 minutes. I don't think Triple H would have done anything but sit these guys down and go over what should be done. Now, I don't know what's happening backstage, but what I do know is Triple H is not this reckless. I don't believe that for a second at all. So if Triple H was the one who really punished him and Kross was punished, why would they give a fuck about the Hardy chants? Why would they care about the Hardy chants that they would have to go back and reshoot it? I don't get it. So who really punished him? It goes back to what I said. Vince McMahon punished him for the reasons that they fucking hate NXT. They look at NXT as the bastard child of the company, and they don't want Karrion Kross to be more over than anybody else based on his entrance. They want to give you the most stripped down version of Kross that you could possibly ever imagine, because fuck NXT. We're not going to have this guy have a better entrance than Bobby Lashley or a Drew McIntyre or a Roman Reigns or anybody on the main roster. So we're going to punish him. So now you know what those meetings at the Performance Center with Bruce and Johnny Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon and Nick Khan, they X'd around. They X'd around in NXT. Tell me about this Karrion Kross guy I'm hearing so much about. So clearly, NXT's got to be upfront, and officials and students got to be upfront about Karrion Kross with upper management. And then when they hear things that they don't like, then that is their new target. Like I said, would you rather have him lose in NXT or beat NXT's Samoa Joe, Enforcer Samoa Joe? You want him to be stripped of the championship? What do you want to have happen? Do you want Joe to beat him and have him suffer a first loss by Samoa Joe? Or do you want him to go to the main roster undefeated? I said it from day one. You don't want that guy going to the main roster undefeated. That's the first thing that they're going to look at and they're going to pick apart. The plans are going to be, how can we beat this guy? Because fuck NXT. There is such an internal disconnect between the main roster and NXT right now that it's fucking laughable. It is so fucking pathetic how the main roster operates, man. The pettiness is fucking sad. You have such an internal disconnect right now. There's an internal war of worlds down in WWE. Meanwhile, AEW is on this fucking volcanic rise. They are so hot right now that it's not even fun. I can't even put it into words. Meanwhile, WWE's imploding from the inside. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's such a sad scene, man. It really is. Kross was buried. I don't give a fuck what the long-term plans are. He's the NXT champion. You don't beat your NXT undefeated champion for 2 years in 2 minutes. Shame on you. These people don't know a fucking thing about professional wrestling. WWE's planning a Queen of the Ring tournament for 2021, according to Wrestling Inc. WWE's planning something that will make fans very happy. I don't know who these fans are, but I'm in the camp of not being happy about a Queen of the Ring. The current plan calls for a Queen of the Ring tournament to go down later in 2021. They tweeted out the big news with more details on the way. Wrestling Inc. has learned that WWE will be doing a Queen of the Ring tournament this year. We'll have more details soon on the website. We'll have to see what WWE does when it happens, how many women are going to be in it. A Queen of the Ring tournament, why is it needed? They can't even book their women's division properly on a week-to-week basis. We need a King of the Ring. We don't need a Queen of the Ring. We don't need a Queen of the Ring because WWE is more than likely going to give it to Charlotte Flair to pad her fucking unimpressive resume. We don't want that or the idea of that at all. Queen Charlotte is all we fucking need on television. She's from the Queen City. Give me a break. Nobody wants to see a fucking Queen of the Ring. Women's matches as of late have been going 2-3 minutes at best. You want a fucking tournament? Give me a tournament with the men where it really fucking counts, where it really matters. You need to do a King of the Ring tournament yearly. That's what the product fucking needs, not a goddamn one-off Queen of the Ring tournament when they can't even book their fucking women's division correctly on a week-to-week basis. The weakest it's been since the retirement of the butterfly belt is what you're looking at right now. Ripley sucks. Buried. Charlotte is get off my TV worthy for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, the Monday Night Raw Women's Championship is the new 24/7 championship held by a fucking comic book character. WWE has no talent on SmackDown for Bianca Belair. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Such a lack of focus for the women. You want to give me a Queen of the Ring? Give me a King of the Ring tournament and just call it a day, man. G1 style, fucking 16 guys, 8 men in Block A, 8 men in Block B. Put it in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam and book the motherfucker to crown a #1 contender for SummerSlam and the WWE or Universal Championship. God, if I had my hands on this fucking creative process, man, I guarantee you I'll be doing a better job than these geeks running the goddamn show. AEW, CM Punk. I got follow-up news on CM Punk. AEW has a bit more urgency to sign CM Punk. Matt Men Podcast, Andrew Zarian talked about this today, about the possibility of CM Punk returning to pro wrestling. He said that AEW has a bit more urgency for CM Punk signing because September 5th's All Out pay-per-view is a perfect time for Punk to debut with the company. He says, and I quote, "I would say that there is more urgency. The CM Punk thing is taking a little bit longer, but you kind of got a month and a half because you definitely want him for Chicago, for All Out. Because if this is it, then you want him on that show before Chicago." It was also noted by Andrew Zarian that the dealings with Bryan were a lot easier than negotiating with CM Punk. They are much different personality types. Also, Bryan has reportedly already signed a deal that came from Cassidy Haynes and Bodyslam.net. We talked about that on the Dynamite post show last night. Go and check it out. We talked about it extensively on Wednesday's live stream. Yes, there's a bit more urgency to sign CM Punk because someone like that, you want to get locked down and start planning around him for All Out. And yes, the negotiation is going to be a little bit longer. He's going to be demanding a little bit more. He has been away for 7-8 years. Bryan was coming off a WrestleMania main event. He wanted specific things that were very easily attainable by signing with AEW, so they gave it to him. That was easy. That was a walk in the park. But CM Punk joining AEW, it's going to be a little bit more of a bigger deal. Punk knows what he's worth. He's probably negotiating what he thinks he's worth, what he wants, creative. Punk probably has a laundry list of things that I'm sure Tony Khan can give him and work with him on, but it's going to be a little bit longer because that's a little bit more of a fragile thing. This guy has had just a difference of opinion on pro wrestling for 7 years. WWE left a bad taste in his mouth just based on that alone and where he's come from, and he doesn't want the same happenings to happen again to him. He wants to be treated with respect. He wants to know he's going somewhere safe where he's not going to be judged and things are going to go his way, and he's going to have a final chapter of his career that he could really look back on and be proud of. It's going to be a little bit more of a fragile situation, so sense of urgency is a huge understatement here. Yeah, they want him for All Out, but you got to be in a situation where you don't rush this guy. Chicago's the perfect place. I think he knows that. I think Tony Khan knows that. I think more now than ever, this year, Punk joins AEW. And finally, guys, The Rock. News on Dwayne Johnson. The Rock is returning at Survivor Series. Location and information on the show has been revealed. Andrew Zarian today. Seems like this is a new weekly thing. Matt Man Podcast reporting that The Rock is currently planned for the Survivor Series. This is him going and doubling down on what he already stated a couple of weeks back. This is confirmation, really, from Andrew Zarian that what he's hearing is The Rock will be at Survivor Series. Rock's appearance will apparently commemorate the 25th anniversary of his debut with the company. He first showed up in 1996 at Survivor Series, Madison Square Garden to be exact. Zarian noted that the tentative plans are for the show to take place at the Barclays Center, not MSG, in Brooklyn. Rock's debut in 1996 was also in New York City, but like I said, at MSG. WrestlingNews.co also heard a while back that there were talks regarding The Rock wrestling on the show, possibly in a tag team match, but they haven't heard anything since. I know that news has come out about a potential WrestleMania plan where it would be The Rock versus Roman with a tag team element behind it, and both of them are teaming with one of the Usos. I don't like that idea. If you're doing 100,000 in AT&T Stadium for WrestleMania, Rock versus Roman Reigns is the only match I want to see. Nothing else about it. One-on-one Universal Championship. Reigns becomes God at that point. Presumably, whatever The Rock does on the show at Survivor Series, this will inevitably kick off the Survivor Series build and WrestleMania build at the same time with Roman Reigns. Rock vs. Reigns is believed to be the big match right now that Andrew Zarian said is on paper soft for WrestleMania 38. So it looks like we may be getting it, folks. This year has been fucking wild. Absolutely wild in pro wrestling, and it's only going to get wilder. Thank you so much for all the love, all the support, and all that you do right here on the podcast. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys show some support by doing that. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want more news and rumors right here on Off the Script. And make sure you guys go and check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel this week. Plus, follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Guys, I'll see you on Friday for SmackDown Live right here on OTS from the OTS venue. And we'll talk about John Cena, Roman Reigns kicking off for SummerSlam Friday Night Live. Until then, take care, guys, and I'll see you Friday.